This episode is sponsored by Shopify. The new year is the perfect time to start your new business. And from creating your brand to getting your first sale, Shopify is there to help you at every step of the way. You can get your store up and running fast with thousands of customizable templates. No coding or design skills required. And Shopify's powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels. So wherever people are scrolling, you can be selling. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/TCZ, all lowercase, and start selling with Shopify today. That's shopify.com/TCZ.
Greetings, humans. You have entered the Command Zone, your destination for all aspects of Elder Dragon Highlander. Enjoy your stay.
I've got the power. I've got the power. Power.
Energy. Close enough. What's up, everyone? You're watching / listening to the Command Zone podcast. I'm one of your singing hosts, Jimmy Wong.
How's it? It's Josh Lee Kwai. We are here. It is preview season once again, and we are getting to reveal one of the Precon commander decks from Aetherdrift. It is called the Living Energy deck. Yep. We've got it right here in front of us. So we are going to go through. We're going to reveal all the contents of this deck, including the 10 new cards. We're going to go through all the reprints.
Yeah.
We're going to break down the reprint value, what the highlights are. We are going to read off every single card and show them on screen. We know people like that. And also, we've started this recently. We're going to combine this with the upgrade of the deck as well, which Jimmy has gone through and chosen 10 cards to take out and then 10 cards to add in for a budget of $50.
I came in way under that this time.
For a budget way. So this is a budget upgrade, which is great.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Jimmy, you've looked at the whole deck. I haven't. This will be the first time I'm actually seeing these cards, so I get the same experience as everybody out there.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And of course, this is not about reviewing the cards. We are here to preview all of the cards in the deck. Obviously, in the later section of the episode, we'll do a bit more review. But this is just about showing you what's in the deck, so you can choose to which one of these precons you're going to get.
Or, just get them all like I do.
Yeah.
All right, but before we get into it, we got to talk about our sponsors, cardkingdom.com/command. That is the place to go to get your Magic product singles, anything at all. Card Kingdom's going to have all the Aetherdrift stuff for pre-order right now, so if you want to lock in those orders and make sure you get it, Card Kingdom's great because they send out the stuff super fast. They get you all the cards in a great condition. If you're looking for singles, if you're going to do the upgrade, either your own or follow along with Jimmy's later on, you can find all of those singles on the Card Kingdom website as well. And what we love about them is they are one place, one-stop shop. You put all the stuff in the cart. You put sealed product. You put singles in there. And then it all arrives in one package all at the same time.
Yeah.
And the convenience of just having all the contents for your deck arrive all at once, it just cannot be beat. So again, cardkingdom.com/command.
And with every new set, there are new sleeves, deck boxes, and all sorts of fun accoutrement. You can go to ultrapro.com/command and outfit your deck with that racing outfit that you're looking for. Get that playmat that maybe
soup up your deck.
Soup up your deck, yeah. Put some NOS in there. Get ready to rev the engines. I guess that's kind of upgrading your deck too. It's like the vinyls on the outside of a card. You gotta make your card look good and protected. So Ultra Pro has all of the gaming accessories that Josh, myself, and members here at the Command Zone trust our own collections to. For me, over 2 or 3 decades now, I've been using Ultra Pro product. They're obviously the top in the business. And when it comes to making your stuff look amazing, they have the Aetherdrift art. They've got all the set art. So if you go to ultrapro.com/command, you can see all the amazing deals that they have on their various products and the new releases. I guarantee you there's gonna be something there that piques your interest and makes you go, wow, I could actually use that for my collection. Me and Jordan Pridgeon have been geeking out about our card sorter trays recently.
Yeah, those are
and
great.
All of a sudden our lives feel just a little bit more organized. And so we're very happy about that. So ultrapro.com/command and get set up today.
And of course, the final way to support all our content is directly if you go to patreon.com/command zone. There's all kinds of cool perks. If you join our community, you can interact with Jimmy, myself, Rachel, our entire team on our Discord. We're on there all the time answering questions, interacting with our Patreon peeps.
Yeah.
And also, you get access to exclusive content that's not available on our regular YouTube channel, a show called Turn Talk, where we sit down after the Extra Turns episodes with all the players and kind of discuss all the ins and outs and the behind-the-scenes stuff, maybe mistakes that were made or things we wish we would have done.
Yeah.
Some of the content that I learned the most from is just hearing other players talk about what they were thinking while they were playing, and you have a lot of aha moments. You're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought that way. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to incorporate that now. So if you want to get access to that and other stuff, patreon.com/command zone.
And we shout out one lucky patron every single episode. So this episode is
Dedicated to Nova Cat. Nova Cat, you rock.
Yeah. Should we also mention Game Nights Live is coming up?
Oh, yeah. We should say that if you're planning to go to MagicCon Chicago, which is on February 21st through 23rd, we are going to be there performing Game Nights Live with our team. It's going to be our biggest show ever. They've got a whole theater venue for this one. It just keeps growing, so there's going to be more seating available than ever.
More comfy.
Definitely more comfy, and we are planning a lot of extra stuff as a result. And we're also going to be at the con the entire weekend doing meet and greets, pick-up games and things like that. If you're already planning to be there, or if you haven't got badges yet, I think there are still a few left, but they do sell out. And by the time you're watching this, it could be gone, so no promises. But if you want to come to Chicago, hang out with us, see the show, we highly recommend it. Game Nights Live will be at 6 p.m. on the Friday, which is February 21st.
Yeah, you'll just need a Friday badge or a weekend badge to be able to get into that. It's going to be pretty much after the con. Normally it's during the con, but now it's at a different venue after at 6 p.m. All the details will be in our profile and on Twitter when we get closer to the date. It's
a really fun show, so if you can at all attend, we'd love to see you there.
Yep. Okay,
let's talk about this Living Energy Aetherdrift Precon.
Yep.
Okay, as Jimmy said, we're not going to spend a lot of time doing card evaluation for this part.
Yep.
We're just going to reveal what's here so you know what's in this box.
Yeah, so in this box, there are, by the way, it's really cool. They got little racing stripes on the side.
Oh, that's
where
cool.
You tear it open.
Oh, you open them on the side now.
Yeah.
That's new.
Yeah, it's definitely new. And I think they keep reducing the size of the box, too. So the deck content has 10 new cards, and 2 of those are the new commanders. So the one they have right in the front, Saheeli, and then another one that can also be the commander of the deck.
The lead singer we usually call it, but maybe this one's the driver and the passenger. Somebody's riding shotgun.
Yeah. Or in the little wheelbarrow thing to the side. There are 0 cards from Aetherdrift's main set. Usually there's like 1 or 2 that come in that you can open in the regular set.
But this Precon doesn't have any cards from Aetherdrift? Okay.
There are 74 reprints, and then 16 basic lands. So the reprints don't count the basic lands, obviously.
That's good. The reprint number is higher than normal. There's usually more basic lands than this, so I like that they're cutting down the amount of basic lands. We'll see if that matters in the reprint value section.
It is a three-color deck, too, so you would hope that they have less basics as well.
We've seen 3-color decks in the past that have like 20-plus basics, though. Yeah. Okay. So this has been revealed because the box has been revealed, but we will read it. The driver in the of this
the
Precon.
Creator in this case.
Yeah, it's Saheeli, Radiant Creator. She costs 1 and Teamer, so 1 green, blue, red, so 4 mana total for a legendary creature, Human Artificer. She's a 4/4. It says whenever you cast an Artificer or Artifact spell, you get an energy counter.
Okay.
Now, if you remember, energy from the past is sort of a side resource that you keep track of and then you spend it on things. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, create a token that's a copy of target permanent you control, except it's a 5/5 artifact creature in addition to its other types and has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
Okay.
So you can make a copy of any permanent
you
control for 3 energy.
Lands, enchantments, planeswalkers, you name it.
Yep. But It is also a 5/5 artifact creature, and you have to sack it at the end of turn.
Yep. So it costs 3 energy every time you play an Artificer or an Artifact. You're going to get an energy. So it's good energy generation just on the commander itself. And pretty fun. The second commander in the deck, the side passenger riding shotgun, is Pia Nalar, Chief Mechanic. She is just green, blue, red, so just Teamer, so 3 mana for a legendary creature, Human Artificer. That's a 2/4. And reads, whenever 1 or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get 2 energy counters. And then, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, create an XX colorless vehicle artifact token named Nalar Aetherjet with flying and crew 2, where X is the amount of energy spent this way. Okay, it's a lot of text. So, end step, you can pay, if you pay 1 energy, you make a 1/1 flying artifact creature token, or artifact token with crew 2.
There's a vehicle token.
Yeah, it's a vehicle token, so you have to crew it. That means you have to tap any amount of creatures with power 2 or more. If you pay like 5 energy, you make a 5/5. So
it's basically like a 5/5 vehicle that has crew 2.
Yeah.
And flying.
Yeah, and of course, the next turn you can crew it up with Pia, who has 2 power, and then swing in, hit, get 2 energy because it's an artifact creature dealing combat damage to a player. So
I mean, you could crew it and block with it, too.
Yeah.
You create it on end step, but it's still a thing that's there.
yeah, so Pia's just pumping out these little ether jets, and they get bigger and bigger depending on how much energy you have to pay into them.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, so those are the 2 new legendary creatures. Actually, there is a monocolored legendary creature also. That,
Right.
But the other 8 new cards, a lot of them are artifacts, as you might imagine. This first one is Adaptive Omnitool. It's 2 mana for an artifact equipment. It says equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And then whenever equipped creature attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And it has equip 3.
Ooh, equip 3.
It's a high equip cost. It is a cool effect. It will draw you cards on attack if you have a high artifact count, which you wouldn't put this in a deck that doesn't.
It's going to make your creature huge, too. We've seen a couple of
yeah.
cards like this that care about how many artifacts you have. So strap that onto an Ether Jet or a Thopter. You could smack someone for like 10.
Yeah, and both Pia and Saheeli are making artifacts as well,
Yeah.
so it will add to that count, although Saheeli's will only do that temporarily.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Next up, we have Aetherflux Conduit. This is a 6 mana artifact. And it says, whenever you cast a spell, you get an amount of energy equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Wow.
Ooh.
So if you pay for a 5-drop, you get 5 energy.
Wow.
And then you can tap and pay 50 energy to draw 7 cards. And you may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. So this is just kind of like Omniscience in a way.
It's pretty good in combination with the Omniscience.
Yeah. Tap this if you have 50 energy, draw 7, cast anything you want without paying the mana costs.
But you have to have paid sort of 50 mana worth of spells with it out.
Yep.
To get to 50 energy. I guess you could get energy in other ways and then spend it with that.
There's a lot of different ways to up your energy count. Both Pia and Saheeli get there, but I don't think I've ever seen someone have 50 energy in a game.
It's a lot.
You'd have to find ways to get a lot more, which this next card might help with.
All right, the next card is called Etherific Amplifier. 3 mana for an artifact. It has a couple of activated abilities. The first one is tap, add 1 mana of any color. So it's a 3 mana.
Mana rock?
Yeah, mana rock. It's a mana lith, I guess. But it has a second ability, which is you pay 4, tap it, and then choose 1, activate only as a sorcery. So you can either double the number of each kind of counter on target permanent.
Okay.
Or double the number of each kind of counter you have.
Ah.
So that could double the amount of energy you've got.
Okay.
If you're poisoned at the same time, though, it would double those. So be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So that would seem like a way to, let's say you have 10 energy, go to 20, then go to 40. Yeah.
That's a way to pretty quickly get there. I mean, it does cost 4 mana to activate that second ability.
Yeah.
So.
But I really like mana rocks now. Like, that are 3 mana rocks that have a relevant ability. It's a little bit overcosted, obviously, or it just costs a bit. But it actually makes it like, hey, I'd play this 3 mana rock, potentially.
Maybe.
Next up, what's that?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
We're not supposed to evaluate.
Yeah.
I'm holding myself back.
It's no Chromatic Lantern. Okay. Next up, we have Nissa, World Soul Speaker. 3 and a green for a 3/3 elf druid. It has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you get 2 energy counters. Oh, pretty good. And then you may pay 8 energy rather than pay the mana cost for permanent spells you cast. So this is a really fast energy generator, especially if you have more landfall triggers.
Yeah, a couple of fetch lands, and before you know it, you're casting some for free.
Yeah, 8 mana or 8 energy for anything in your hand seems pretty good.
Especially when your commander's also making energy, and there's a whole bunch of ways to make energy these days.
Yeah.
A lot of energy support lately. All right, the next new card is Pima Trailblazer. It's 2 and a green for a 3/3 creature elephant warrior, has trample. It says whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you get that many energy.
Okay.
And it has exhaust. Pay 6 energy, put 2 1/1 counters on this creature, then draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Activate each exhaust ability only once.
Yeah. So there's a new mechanic from Aetherdrift. You pump the NOS button, but you can only do it 1 time on the card for each instance. So if you flicker the card, you can do it again, but
Too early. Yeah, don't hit the NOS too soon. I mean, yeah, you can flicker the creature, you can recur it, you know.
If it
you
dies,
can clone
it gets reanimated. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. There are ways to reuse an ability like this. But still, just pay 6 energy, put 2/1/1 counters on this, and then draw a minimum of 5 cards. You know, not too bad. And it has trample, so it may only have to hit like one time if you pump it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, you got a lot of energy.
Yeah, if you get this out early in the game, it's great, I think. Otherwise, you're just hoping to get that energy elsewhere, which you have a lot of ways of doing so. Like Rampaging Aetherhood. The word ether has appeared like 17 times.
We learned how to say ether. It is ether and not aether.
Ether.
Yeah, I forget what set taught us that. Was it Kaldheim? Something like that.
Kaladesh, I think, right? Because there was a lot of ether
yeah,
there.
Ether Revolt.
Ether Hub, Ether, yeah.
Ether Revolt.
This is 4 and a green for a Snake Hydra that's a 4/4 with Trample and Ward 2. Dun, dun, dun. Can't ever kill it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you get an amount of energy equal to this creature's power. Then you may pay 1 or more energy. If you do, put that many 1/1 counters on this creature. So 5 mana, you have to wait till your next upkeep. You'll get 4 energy as long as you haven't changed its power. And then if you pay 4 energy or 2 energy, you get to put that many 1/1 counters on it. So the next upkeep, you get more energy.
Okay, seems slow. Next one is Stride Hanger Automaton. 3 mana for a 1/4 artifact creature construct. It says Thopters you control get +1/+1.
Nice.
If 1 or more artifact tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying are created instead.
Whoa.
So anytime you would make
A food, a treasure.
Yep, exactly. You get an extra Thopter Thop with that.
Yeah, that seems really good.
3 mana. Yeah, it's
Like Peregrine Took.
What's the one that's
food,
like
right?
if you get a treasure, you also get a food and
I know exactly what this card is.
Manufacturer, Academy
Manufacturer, yeah.
Yes. It's sort of similar in the similar vein. 3 mana and
Yeah.
just sort of makes additional tokens when you're already making tokens.
Yeah, Peregrine Took does that as well. It makes food tokens every
Right.
time you make a token instead. Territorial Ether Kite is the last one. 4 red for a 6/5 cat dragon with flying and haste. When this creature enters, you get 2 energy counters. Then you may pay 1 or more energy. When you do, this creature deals that much damage to each other creature.
Oh, wow.
So this could be a
board
board
wipe.
wipe, yeah. And it keeps itself alive.
It says
notably.
each other creature, so it doesn't
yeah.
deal damage to itself.
Yeah, it will kill your own stuff, though.
Yeah. That's pretty powerful.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the 10 new cards in the deck. Almost all of them are energy cards. There's, I think, only 1 or 2 that aren't.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, makes sense in a living energy deck. And energy, although it has gotten more support in recent years, is still sort of in need of enough critical mass to sort of make decks work. So I would expect a lot of the new cards to be energy related.
You would hope so.
Yep. Okay, so let's talk about everyone's favorite subject when talking about precons, which is the reprint value.
Woohoo!
So those are the new cards. We know there are 74 reprints in this deck, and the gap there is because there are basic lands, which are not reprints, and also, I mean, we don't count them as reprints, and they're also not new cards. So as always, we are doing this pricing at the time before the deck is known about, because we're obviously recording this video before the rest of the world knows about the deck. And as soon as we reveal the full contents of the deck, what all the reprints are, those prices will start to go down because they have been reprinted. So yeah.
Now MSRP is back, notably.
That's a good
was
point.
announced last year at MagicCon Vegas.
Yep.
And there is an MSRP that is $45 for the Aetherdrift commander decks.
So we can compare that to the official price, not just like the price we're out there in the wild. Okay, so just for some context, let's compare this to precons of the past. So Outlaws of Thunder Junction, the average precon reprint value was about $130.31. Modern Horizons 3 was $167.69. Remember, those decks were slightly more expensive, though, than the average precon. We didn't have MSRP there, but I think it's safe to say they were like 10 or 15 bucks more expensive on average.
Yeah.
Bloomborough was $137.81. Duskmourn was $149.31. So we're seeing around $140. Duskmourn on the high end, or closer to $150 for this level of precon.
Yeah.
So now let's do the living energy. Jimmy, you want to do the honors?
Drum roll. It is $156. Ding, 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 ding.
All right. So I think pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
A little higher than the average we've been seeing. So I think we're happy with that number.
Yeah, and when we look at the cards as well, I think people will be pretty surprised and pleasantly surprised, because there are some very powerful cards in here that are being reprinted.
Yeah, it's not like a bunch of $2 cards. There are some. There are a number over $10, which is nice. Before we get to that, Let's talk about the bang for your buck value, just another way to sort of contextualize this. And this is if you take, because precons have different numbers of reprints in them, so comparing apples to apples can be tough. So there's just another angle of attack on that. So we take the number of reprints and then the total reprint value and divide that by that to find a sort of each dollar you spend, about how much reprint dollar do you get back.
Yep. So if we look back at those same precons we just talked about, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, you got about $2.90 per $1 spent. Modern Horizons 3 was about $2.29.
Remember, it had the highest reprint value, but because the cost of the deck was higher, lower bang for your buck. Yep.
Bloomborough was actually at $3.06 because the cost of it was pretty low in the reprint value, right? So the division. And then Duskmourn was about $3.32. Now, assuming you bought the Living Energy deck at MSRP of $45, the reprint value was, bang for your buck, is
$3.47.
Yeah, it's actually higher than everything else we've seen so far. Now, obviously, stores are going to price this based on what they think is the correct price, so you might not be able to find it at MSRP anyway.
Yeah, I would assume when the set's like fairly new, you can usually find it for standard legal sets for about that, unless there's something nutso going on.
Yeah.
Like they accidentally reprint a card that's worth like $60, which didn't exactly happen here. So hopefully you can find it at MSRP. But yeah, you're right. This is the highest number we've seen at least for the past year. So I think you can only call that good, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the notable reprints in this box. And these we're going to classify as cards that are worth $5 or more. Again, at the time of this recording, before they've been revealed.
Yep.
There are 10 cards over $5 that are being reprinted in this set. So we'll run them down.
The first one is a big one, and it is extremely playable in Commander. It's Academy Ruins, which was $21 before we just announced it right now. And this has new art as well. I believe this is on one of the Aetherdrift planes.
Yeah, very cool. And Academy Ruins is a card I think all of us play a ton. Allows you to recur artifacts.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yep. The next one is Elder Gargaroth, which had crept all the way up to $19.
Whoa.
Yep. So this is a 6/6 with trample and a million other abilities. I won't read them all, but $19.
Yeah. Can you remember all the text on Elder Gargaroth?
No way. I'm just like, which one do you choose? Okay. I know it does that.
Between that and Questing Beast, I think you could have a whole dictionary. Next up is a $13 card until I just announced it right now. It's Conjurer's Closet, which is really good. Yeah, especially with this commander because it creates a new copy of the... they're tokens. But it is still really good with Saheeli because you have a lot of ETB creatures in here.
Good with that exhaust ability on stuff, right? Because you blink it and then reuse the exhaust too. The next one is Retrofitter Foundry. This was $12.
Wow, no way.
Yeah, so, and then a very playable card, especially in artifact decks, just kind of does everything.
Yeah, that card, when you're at board like equal, is nuts.
Yep.
Next up, we have Triplicate Titan, which was at $10 or so.
Wow, I'm surprised it was so high. But you know what? I do play it in a couple of decks because when you're looking for just big artifacts to recur, it's on the list. It does a good job.
Yeah, and when that thing dies, you get a lot of value.
Yeah. All right, the next card is definitely a format staple, one of the highest played cards in all of Commander, and always creeps back up in price no matter how much they reprint it. It was $7.50 at this moment. It's Lightning Greaves.
Lightning Greaves. And it's got new art, too.
Yep, and always happy to see a reprint of Lightning Greaves.
Next up, we have Panharmonicon, a 4-mana artifact that basically doubles all of your ETBs on artifacts and creatures, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, must have a lot of ETBs in this deck to include that card.
Yes.
Which wasn't necessarily in the new cards we read. Interesting.
And that card was $7 until just now.
Speaking of ETBs, the next card was $6.50. It is Druid of Purification.
That card's nuts.
Yeah, 300 green. If you don't know it, when this creature enters, starting with you, each player may choose an artifact or enchantment you don't control, and you destroy each permanent chosen this way, so it often blows up a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and the most important stuff, too, on the board. Next up is a land... Oh, that has new art as well.
Okay.
And then the next up is a classic. It's Karplusan Forest. So we always see a couple of lands on these, especially the ones that climb up. This is just a pain land to tapping for red or green, dealing 1 damage to you, and that was at $6.
Yeah, anytime they can reprint a land that was worth over $5, it's good because it helps mana bases. So, yep.
Yeah.
And another land that was $5 exactly is Treasure Vault, and this is the one that adds colorless, or you can pay XX, tap and sacrifice it to create X treasure tokens.
Yay!
That's a pretty good list right there, I'd say.
Yeah, there are places for every single one of these cards in different decks that I currently have. So
I mean, yeah, there's a whole Academy Ruins, Panharmonicon, Lightning Greaves, like there's a bunch of staples on the list, and they're all a pretty high value. So Yep. I think we're happy with those reprints. All right, we're not going to go through the reprint value of every single card, but now we are going to read off the entirety of the rest of the deck. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We will try to note when there is new art. We're going to show them all on screen. Yeah. And then remember, after we're done doing this, we are going to go through Jimmy's budget upgrade of this deck where he
pretty fun
decided 10 cards to add and 10 to take out to sort of get this thing up to racing shape as soon as possible. To soup it up.
Soup it up.
Give that engine an overhaul. Some other
pit stop.
Car pun. Yes.
Yeah.
New tires.
New
model. Original parts. That was the log line for Fast and Furious. I don't know that because I
New
worked
model,
on it. Okay.
Original parts?
For Fast.
Like 3 or
4. I think when they brought Vin and Paul Walker back.
Gotcha.
New
for
model,
2,
original parts. Yeah.
For 2, they all disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
A friend of mine wrote that. That's how I know it. Okay.
Ah.
I worked on all the Fast and Furious movies, you know?
Every single one?
No, but I worked on 4, 5, 6, and a little bit
before it got real wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wacky by 6, but yeah.
Yeah, once The Rock showed up, things got real strange. Okay, here we go. The first card up is Ether Hub, Energy Land.
All right, then it's Ether Squall Ancient.
Big creature. Ether Tide Whale.
Ether Wind Basker.
Those are all like 6, 7 drops.
Yep.
Etherworks Marvel.
You had to have it for an energy deck. Arcane Denial.
I like that.
Classic.
Arcane Signet with new art.
Architect of the Untamed.
Yeah. Attune with Ether.
Oh, they stuck another Ether on us. I thought we were
there's
done.
a lot. No, there's probably going to be at least a couple more, I think.
Bespoke Battle Wagon is next.
Blasphemous Acts. Port wipe.
Classic. Bootlegger's Stash is after that.
Then we have Chain Reaction with new art as well.
Then we have Chaos Warp, also new art.
And Josh's favorite, Chromatic Lantern, new art.
Chromatic Lantern? What?
I don't know.
I don't know why that's in there. Combustible Gear Hulk.
Nice. Command Tower, new art. They always do new art on Command Towers.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing that all the time these days. After that is Commander's Sphere.
Then we have Confiscation Coup, which is energy steal stuff.
Then Cultivator's Caravan. Vehicle Rock.
Vehicle Rock, yeah.
Yep.
Decoction Module.
I love that
Energy
card.
Maker, Bouncer.
After that is Disallow. Okay. They're having me read all the counter spells.
Yeah. Duplicant with new art. Some cool exile.
Another classic card. Era of Innovation is after that.
Then we have Evolving Wilds, a land.
Exotic Orchard, also a land.
Explosive Vegetation, some ramp.
Frontier Bivouac, another land.
Frostboil Snarl, a reveal land.
After that is Glimmer of Genius.
Wow, they made you read the card draw, too. Hinterland Harbor after that.
Then we have Lightning Runner.
Then Loyal Apprentice.
Speaking of Thopters, we have Midnight Clock after that.
Yeah, One with the Machine. Yeah.
Then Ornithopter of Paradise.
Then we have Overflowing Basin.
After that is Path of Ancestry.
Then Pima Ether Seer.
You're right, another Ether snuck in there.
Yep. It is.
Then we have Pia and Kieran Nalar.
Oh, great card. The Reality Shift after that, removal with new art.
Reckless Fireweaver after that.
Win condition. Then we've got Rogue Refiner, some card draw.
After that is Rootbound Crag.
Then Sahili, Sublime Artificer.
And then we have Psy, Master Thopterist. I'm sensing a Thopter creation sub-theme.
Yeah, that card's nuts. Then we have Servant of the Conduit, Mana Rock, Mana Guy.
After that is Sheltered Thicket.
Then Shivan Reef.
Then Slagwood's Bridge.
Then everyone's favorite Soul Ring with new art as well.
After that is Solar Transformer.
Then we have Solemn Simulacrum.
Then we have Soul Guide Lantern.
Then we have Spire of Industry.
After that is Sulphur Falls.
Then Talisman of Curiosity.
Tangle Pool Bridge after that.
Then Temple of Epiphany.
Then Thopter Spy Network.
In the skies, though.
Yeah.
Then Vine Glimmer Snarl.
Then Limited All-Star Whirler Rogue.
And then Whirler Virtuoso, also a limited all-star.
And then Yavimaya Coast.
Followed by the basics, 5 islands, 5 mountains, and 6 forests.
All right, that entire list will be linked in the show notes. So if you want to take a look at it, sort of the whole thing from a
check it out.
Yep, from a wider vantage point, check that out. You can find it in the description. Okay, next up, we are going to go through Jimmy's budget upgrade of this deck, find out how he broke it down, where he saw the needs were, what 10 cards he thinks are the best to add, what 10 cards you should take out to get this thing all souped up and ready to roll as soon as possible. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break and hear a message from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Becoming my own boss is one of the best decisions I ever made. So if you're out there and you're thinking about starting your own business, I'm here to tell you, now is the time. I know it can seem daunting, trust me, I've been there, but it is worth it. And with Shopify, you get all the tools you need to make 2025 the year you finally act on that big idea you've always wanted to pursue. They make things simple at every step of the process, from creating your brand to opening for business and getting that very first sale. And Shopify takes the hassle out of building your online storefront too, with thousands of customizable templates. All you need to do is drag and drop. They help with all the annoying details like shipping, taxes, and payments from one single dashboard, so you can focus on the important stuff. Having Shopify manage the Command Zone merch store means we can spend our energy making content while still being able to offer cool stuff to all our fans. And if you start your business now, who knows? Maybe someday I'll be buying your merch. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/TCZ, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/TCZ to start selling with Shopify today. That's shopify.com/TCZ. What you working on?
Oh, I'm just doing the last pass on my Nahiri deck on Commander Spellbook.
Commander Spellbook? What's that?
It's this website where you can paste your deck list or architect link, and it shows you all the infinite combos in it, plus a step-by-step guide to how they work. I tend to build higher power, so infinites just kind of happen by accident, but Commander Spellbook is a super easy way to find and remove them.
It's really that easy?
Yeah. Here, let me paste in one of your decks.
Oh.
See? 3 infinite combos you left in by accident. You lose a Fellow Alchemist, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, totally by accident. I will definitely be cutting that.
Commander Spellbook is the best way to check your deck for combos or find new ones to build around with its powerful search engine. Just go to commanderspellbook.com and check it out today. Again, that's commanderspellbook.com.
Sorry, I just discovered that I've been paying for 2 Netflix accounts. I'm Kian, and I may be and have a corrupted memory. But with all the services and subscriptions these days, how can anyone remember it all? Thankfully, I have Rocket Money to ease my burden. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It's hard enough keeping track of whether my power is odd or even. I can't be constantly checking all my accounts. But Rocket Money's dashboard lets me see all of my subscriptions in one place, so I know exactly where my money keeps disappearing to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. They even alert me if a bill increases in price, or if an unexplained charge appears out of nowhere.
Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/commandzone today. That's rocketmoney.com/commandzone. Again, rocketmoney.com/commandzone. You browsing for some new tech?
Yeah, I'm building Tiamat and Architect. Ooh, how about Zergo and Ojutai?
Did you just drag and drop that card image directly into your deck?
Yep, with Architect, you can drag and drop card images from EDH Rec or Scryfall directly into the deck list. No typing required.
That is so cool.
Ooh, okay, check this out. I'm gonna drag and drop Dragon Storm into the deck, and then boom, I'm gonna drop a bunch of dragons on the battlefield.
A 9-drop, huh? Seems ambitious.
It was just for the pun. Architect is the best place to browse, brew, and playtest Commander decks. Just go to architect.com/commandzone to get started.
That's ARCHIDEKT.com/commandzone.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to talk about the Living Energy deck, and it's time to upgrade it now that we revealed all of the cards in it. Hopefully people are getting excited about this. Another entry into the energy deck potential. We saw a bunch in Modern Horizons 3, and now we saw some in like Fallout, and now we've got even more ways to use energy, which is exciting.
Yeah, definitely a mechanic they've been expanding. The real question for me, though, is how many cards with the word ether in it can you add to this deck?
Yeah, I don't think I added any.
Okay, dang it. Disappointment.
Wait.
We'll see.
There's one.
To be on the end of your seat. Oh,
maybe there's more.
9. Yeah.
Oh
you
my
took away
gosh.
all the suspense.
You could just add the word ether to them. All right, let's talk about the stats. So in this deck, we went through and we broke down all of the main stats of the most important elements of the deck. So there are 12 sources of ramp in this deck, including 1 Chromatic Lantern. There are 15 sources of card draw, which is pretty nice.
Yep.
8 pieces of targeted interaction, which is nice up there as well. There are 4 board wipes. Wow. And then 38 lands.
Yeah, I think those numbers look pretty good. Interaction maybe a little bit low, but
Yeah.
I've been putting a few more board wipes in my deck these days because there are just so many explosive decks now that it feels like that's the only way to handle them. Sometimes, even though I don't love games where like a million board wipes get played, it's like there's just more games than ever where it feels like there's no way to win but cast a board wipe. I mean, there's no way to get back in it.
Yeah, I'd cut like 7 lands from this too, so get that down. All right, next up we have the cards in the deck that are specifically around the theme. So 25 cards in the deck create energy in some shape or form.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, there are 18 different places to sink the energy into, which you would expect is great as well. And then for Saheeli, who cares about casting artifacts and artificers, there are 31 artifacts and artificers. And there are also 17 cards that have enter the battlefield effects for Saheeli.
Okay.
And then there are 18 artifact creatures, or things that make artifact creatures. For the most part, they're Thopters. And that matters a little bit more for Pia, who's trying to get damage in with artifact creatures.
So after you broke down all these stats and sort of took a holistic look at the deck, what was your strategy? What was your angle of attack for like what you thought, I want to change or fix?
Yeah, so I think if you want to build around Pia, which is again all about creating artifact creatures that can attack and give you energy, and then you're making cool little like Thopter type Ether Jets, I think they're called, vehicles. You'd want to really customize the deck towards that. In this deck, there are a lot of cards that are like big drop creatures that have cool enter the battlefield effects. So I think you want to, if you're going to just do a quick upgrade on this, Saheeli is still obviously the best choice for the deck. So that's what I built around this time around. I think in general, the thing that I looked at when I looked at the curve of this deck is that it's very heavily weighted towards the 4s, 5s, 6s, and 7s. So I want to reduce the amount of clutter around the middle, make it a little more efficient, and then find some better ways to create energy, and then some better energy sinks as well. Because I think one thing you'll find in a deck like this is you create a ton of energy and then all of a sudden have no place to put it.
Yeah.
There are a couple cards, one that says pay 50 energy and all that, but I think for the most part there are, thanks to the fact that there are so many new energy cards, it was actually a pretty simple way to swap out some of the weaker ones and put in some of the higher power ones and stay at a really, really low budget. I think I came in 10 times under the $50 budget.
Wow. So you're under $5?
I was right around $5. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So true budget.
Actual budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are important things for people to look at when they're upgrading any precon, which is there's often multiple legendary creatures, and figuring out sort of which one of the legendary creatures the deck is sort of closest to at the moment. Because there's usually one where it really makes more sense to sort of build a brand new deck around it. And maybe you'll use 5 or 6 cards from the precon, and then there's usually another one that like, the deck's already kind of doing mostly this, and so with 10 cards going in and out, I'm already closer to that.
Yeah.
So I like that. And then we often find with precons, lowering curve and making it more efficient is better. I like what you said about the energy, because if you've got a game and you made 75 energy, but at the end of you die with 75 energy,
that sucks.
The creation of that energy did nothing for you. You did nothing. You have to spend the energy on stuff in order for that to have been like counted as actions that you even really took.
Yeah, because Saheeli's saying you'll spend about 3 energy a turn to make a cool thing at the beginning of combat, and then but you don't want to just rely on just that. Now there's a couple other ones, but I added a few here that I think has a lot of really interesting ways to spend energy. Okay. So
let's talk about the fun part, which is the cards you want to add to the deck.
Yeah, normally you have a budget of $50. I came in right around $5.
$5.75 I can see is the total. Wow. So
which
under
is pretty
6.
Cool. Yeah. So the first category is called Big Energy. So just to add to the fact that you have a lot of energy generation, how can we up that and give you ways to spend it in ways that hopefully help you win the game? So we have Ether Refinery.
There's an Ether
card. Yeah. It's the
only one.
It's the only one. Start off strong.
50 cents.
4 red for an artifact. If you would get 1 or more energy, you get twice that many energy instead. So this is kind of like that new mana rock that doubles your energy, but this is just stacked onto an artifact. And that's going to be great, because if you want to pay 50 energy, this is the way you get there.
Nice.
And then you may tap it to get an energy, and then you can pay 1 or more energy. If you do, you create an XX black Aetherborn creature token, where X is the amount of energy paid this way. So this is great because you can choose to pay 1 energy to make a 1/1, or you can pay 20 energy to make a 20/20. And you can do it the turn this comes down. And also when you tap it, you'll actually get 2 energy because of the other effect on Ether Refinery.
And really, you tap it, you get 2 energy, right? Because it sees itself and then makes the second one. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and the nice thing too is that Saheeli can double this because it's a permanent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's something I didn't put as much emphasis into. It's not just creatures. You could be putting enchantments in this deck that Saheeli could double as well. But in this case, if you get 2 Ether Refineries out, you're going to double and then double again.
That's pretty
so
nice.
you'll get 4 energy.
So
every
you
time
use
tap
3,
this.
make a copy of it, and then you tap both, and you get 6 energy back.
Yeah. 2 from the first one.
No,
they both
you
see
get
each other.
4.
You get 4, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so you get 8.
Yeah, you get 8.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And then
Spend 3, get 8.
anything else, obviously, with Saheeli out too, if you already have Ether Refinery, when you cast everything, you get 2, right? So there's just a lot of ways to really pop off of that. 50 cents.
That's pretty nice.
Another big energy is Royal Cartographer, which has landfall. Whenever a land enters, you get an energy. So there's already 2 other sources of this in the deck. We're going to cut some of them. We'll see later on, because this is just way more efficient. It's 2 mana. And you can tap, pay 6 energy to draw 3 cards.
A good way to spend energy, yeah. And it's a 2-drop. So it gets your energy...
going faster.
Yeah, creation going faster, yeah.
And generally, I don't think people...
Energy generation, that's what I meant to say.
will want to kill the Royal Cartographer. So it's one of those just sneaky cards that sits around, and all of a sudden you're drawing 3 with it, each turn. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Next up is one that we saw played to great effect recently on Extra Turns by Jarvis Johnson. Is it Generatorium? This is blue-red for an artifact. If you would get 1 more energy, you get that many plus 1 instead. So it's like Hardened Scales, but for energy. And you can tap, draw a card, activate only if you've paid or lost 4 or more energy this turn. So nice. I don't know how you lose energy. Normally you're paying it.
There are things that can remove counters, right? So
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
that's pretty rare. That wouldn't happen very often, but it can happen.
Yeah, so these are all cards I added in to basically give you more ways to sink energy and also reward you for using energy.
Yeah, these are great. A lot of these both spend and create energy. So they're both parts of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Actually, all 3 of them so far are both parts of the puzzle. I guess Is it Generatorium doesn't spend energy, but it says when you do, I give you a payoff for it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And it just sits there early and just generates you more energy and gets you to making sure that when you play Saheeli, you have all the energy you need to instantly copy something the turn it comes down.
And a problem with decks like this could easily be the problem where you have all the stuff that makes energy and nowhere to spend it, or all the stuff that spends energy and nowhere to make it.
Yeah.
And having cards that do both sides of that gets you out of that jam.
Pretty good. All right, next up we have the category of copy tech. So this is just helping Saheeli's ability when she copies, or just giving you more value from that. First up we have Octomancer, which I was like, wait a minute, this card's incredible. 3 green and the blue for a 3/3 frog druid. Now when you cast this, you may gift an octopus, which you can promise an opponent the gift as you cast it. If you do, they create an 8/8 blue octopus creature token. So you can just give someone an 8/8. But because of that, you have the other part of the text of Octomancer, which says, at the beginning of each end step, create a token that's a copy of target creature token that entered the battlefield this turn. So you would get that octopus as well. But most notably with Saheeli, when you copy any of your creatures, at your end step, Octomancer can give you a copy of the token you made, except it doesn't have the text, or it doesn't have the part of Saheeli's ability that says sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. So normally you're making a token copy of Saheeli, and then you're going to get that token, but it goes away. Octomancer allows you to create a token copy of that copy, and then it doesn't have to get sacrificed.
Nice.
So you really pump up your board, and if you need to, you can gift an octopus. And also, it's the beginning of each end step. So if your opponents are creating creature tokens, you're going to get a copy of them as well. So this could be really sneaky good in some metas, but for this deck, it's mostly about really buffing up what Saheeli's doing. That's $1.25. I think it's the most expensive card. Oh, there's one more that's a little more expensive.
Oh, yeah. We didn't say Royal Cartographer and Is It Generatorium, both a quarter each.
Nice.
25 cents.
All right.
And the next card is 50 cents.
It's the Motherlode, Excavator. So this is our first card from Fallout. Obviously, they can't be putting Fallout cards into a Precon about Aetherdrift, so this gives us a chance to look at other sets that have energy in them. And there's some really spicy ones from Fallout. This one is 3 red for a 5/5 legendary artifact creature robot. When the Motherlode Excavator enters the battlefield, choose target opponent. You get an amount of energy equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. So doubling this ETB up with Saheeli is really nice. It could get like 20 energy by playing against Josh. And then whenever the Motherlode attacks you,
We're on a late turn, I guess.
yeah. Whenever Motherlode attacks, you may pay 4 energy. When you do, destroy target non-basic land defending player controls, and creature that player controls without flying can't block this turn.
Wow.
So this is also a win con.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. I think the thing that is really important about this deck to play it well is you need a way to get in damage. And you've got a lot of Thopter creation and stuff, but at some point you need to be able to swing out and just get in a lethal attack. And so Motherlode does that, and it blows up lands while it does so.
Well, and Saheeli gives it, hey, so you can even cast this, make the Saheeli copy, attack right away.
Yeah. blow up a land.
Probably get a ton of energy because you got the 2 ETBs.
Yeah. That is a 50-cent card. And then the next up is another quarter-cent card. Quarter-cent, 25 cents.
1 quarter of a cent.
1 quarter of a cent.
We don't have that denomination
Penny
yet.
cut in 4. It's Behemoth of Vault 0, which is also a Fallout card. 6 mana for a 6/6 artifact creature robot with trample. When it enters, you get 4 energy, so more ETB energy. And then when it dies, you may pay an amount of energy equal to target non-land permanent's mana value when you do destroy that permanent.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is really good with Saheeli. Again, you play it, you copy it, it dies, you pay some energy, you blow up anything on the board.
Yeah, because you have to sacrifice those Saheeli copies, so it will die.
Yeah, so really like Behemoth of Vault 0.
That's cool.
Okay, and then the next category is called See More, Win More. Not see more like the name, but just seeing more cards. So these are cards that I thought, at some point, you need to just see more of your deck. Play more cards. So Amped Raptor is the first one. This is a Modern Horizons staple, a really good card in Limited. 1 in a red, 2/1, first strike. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and then if you cast it from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by paying an amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost.
Turning energy into mana is good.
And a card off the top of your deck.
Yeah, that's a very good way to spend energy.
Later in the game, you should be able to cast pretty much anything that comes off the top.
Yeah.
And that is a 25-cent card because it's an uncommon. And then I can't believe this card wasn't in the set. Or wasn't in this deck. It's just perfect. It's Wheel of Potential. This is 2 in a red sorcery. You get 3 energy, and then you can pay X energy. Each player may exile their hand and draw X cards. If X is 7 or more, you may draw cards you own exiled this way until the end of your next turn. So normally everyone's exiling their hands and then wheeling. But this time, if you pay 7 or more, you get to actually cast those cards until the end of your next turn. This is like late game explosion. You get a ton of energy already. You can draw 20 cards at some point and go nuts.
Yep.
This combined with the other card that you pay 50 energy, that's the dream.
Yeah.
You draw 7, play wheel, draw 20, cast everything in your hand, right? I guess you have to play wheel first.
And that card was 50 cents.
50 cents, yeah. And then finally, we have just some more interaction with energy. So just cards that give you a little more interaction because I thought the number was a tiny bit low.
Yeah.
First up is Volatile Stormdrake, $1.50, the most expensive card on the list. 1 in the blue, 3/2, has flying and hexproof from activated and triggered abilities. When it enters the battlefield, exchange control of Volatile Stormdrake and target creature and opponent controls. If you do, you get 4 energy. Then you sack that creature unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value.
So it's the Fair Gilded Drake.
Yeah, but by itself, it just sacks a creature,
which
is kind of cool. You do give him a 3/2, but if you do keep it, then you just have to pay some energy. And then finally, we have a energy counterspell from Fallout called Electro Siphon. Blue, red, counter target spell. You get an amount of energy equal to its mana value. Ta-da! So just
it's the mana drain of energy.
Mana drain of energy. Yeah, so total, that card is 50 cents. Total, the budget today came in at $5.75.
Wow.
Which is maybe the lowest ever.
The lowest I think I can remember seeing. I always try and spend every cent. I'm like, well.
Yeah. Well, this time around, I was like, well, there's just a bunch of... The weakest cards in this deck are the commons from Kaladesh that are just okay.
Yeah.
And then some cards that don't synergize as well, but are there because it feels flashier and bigger. And it's let's just make this deck more efficient. I think that's the main thing with energy decks. It's not so much about the big-time power cards, but how every card synergizes with each other.
Well, the nice thing about energy cards, too, is they don't tend to get super expensive because they're very specific to only certain kinds of decks. So they're not staples. And the staples are the ones that tend to get expensive because it's you need them for a lot of your decks.
Yeah.
But if you have a good energy card, how many energy decks do you have? 1, maybe 2. So, yeah, they don't tend to crawl up in price as much, which is nice.
Yeah, they're not super
It's
high
a pretty
demands.
good type of deck to build if you're on a budget, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the 10 cards to take out to make room for the 10 cards that you just mentioned, Jimmy.
Yeah, so this was really interesting. For the most part, I just took out cards that were weaker versions of the cards, and then there were a couple of cuts where I was like, yeah, I don't know if this actually works that great in the deck. The first one is a card that does not work great in the deck, I don't think. It's Bootlegger's Stash. It's a 6-drop. Lanes you control have tap creator treasure token. Yeah, artifact enters with Saheeli, you get energy, you get treasures, but 6 mana for an artifact, and then you've already tapped the lands to play it, so you can't tap the lands that same turn. Doesn't seem great. And then doubling this with Saheeli doesn't give you 2 treasures when you tap the lands, it just gives the ability twice.
It's a 6 mana do nothing artifact.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
It's not great. Next.
Yeah, this is a new card, actually.
Oh, no, we're taking out a card that has Ether in its name.
Blasphemy. But you said it exactly at the beginning, Josh. You went, seems slow. And it is slow.
So Rampaging Etherhood is the card. This is the trample ward 1 at the beginning of your upkeep. Get an amount of energy equal to this creature's power, then you can put counters on it and get more energy the following turn. But yeah.
5
mana. Cast it, next turn get a little bit of energy, and maybe the next turn after that get a lot. It takes,
Yeah. And if someone kills it in that intermittent turn, you'd much rather have it played like any of the cards I added. Next up is Aetherwind Basker. This is 4 green. Sorry, another Ether card. Actually, I think a lot of Ether cards got cut.
So now we're -1 cards with the word Ether in them.
-2, because this is Aetherwind Basker. Oh, right.
We added 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, -1 net. This is 4 green trample. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, you get an energy counter for each creature you control. And then you can pay an energy to give this card +1/+1 till end of turn.
7 mana.
7 mana.
Nah.
If you don't have anything on the board, it gives you 1 energy.
Yeah, that's just not a good card.
Not great, yeah. And I think in general, there's a lot of the cards we talked about that we're adding are just going to be better, like the Vault Zero guy and all that.
Oh no, another card with Ether in its name.
Now we're
getting -2 Ether cards. Yeah, it's the next cut is Pima Ether Seer. This is 3 and a green for the 3/2. When it enters, you get an amount of energy equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, and then you can pay 3 energy. Target creature blocks this turn of Fable.
Yeah, so I don't love the activate ability here. And again, similar to Basker, you have to have a board state for this to be good. 4 mana is one of the most crowded slots in the deck, so I thought this was an easy cut. Next up is Era of Innovation. This is 1 in the blue for an enchantment. Whenever an artifact or artificer enters, you may pay 1. If you do, get 2 energy. And you can pay 6 to sack this enchantment to draw 3 cards. So we already added in the Royal Cartographer, which it has the ability to draw 3. This makes you Rhystic Study yourself almost to get energy.
Yeah, you don't want to be paying you don't want to be paying mana for to get the energy. You want to just get it.
Just get it, yeah. So I thought this was just a little clunky, and again, the cards that we added just do a better job of it. And there already are so many energy creators in the deck. You're not hurting yourself by taking out something that isn't as good.
Oh no, another card with Ether in its title. We're good.
-3?
Yeah, 1. Yep. Oh no. Ether Tide Whale. This is 4 blue for a 6/4 flyer. When it enters, you get 6 energy, and then you can pay 3 energy, return it to its owner's hand.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to be doing that. To pay 3 energy to bounce it and then play it again for 6 to get more energy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a finisher in Constructed as for like control decks, right? But it's just not good enough in Commander to really fill that role. So then it's just like, 6 mana gets 6 energy and a 6/4 flyer is not good enough.
Yeah, just compare this to the Vault Zero guy, which when it dies, you get something. When it enters, you get 4, and it's more fun to copy, right? So I think that is just an easy way of looking at that. All right, this one's a little controversial. Conjurer's Closet is the next cut from the deck. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So I would love if this was a way to save the token that you made with Saheeli, but this is a 5-mana artifact, and there's only 17 enter the battlefield effects.
So yeah, and you've cut a few.
Yeah.
So we're looking at maybe 14 or so ETBs for this. So 14 cards that synergize with this card, not enough.
Yeah, I think if you're putting Conjurer's Closet in a deck, then you want to be upping that number to like 30, 31, 32.
If it worked with the tokens that Saheeli's making, that'd be different, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I was originally thinking of cutting Panharmonicon, but Panharmonicon doubles Saheeli's ability.
It does work with Saheeli's ability, whereas Conjurer's Closet doesn't, And
you play this card, and if you don't have a way to really follow it up with really powerful effects, everyone's going to kill you. It paints a huge target on your back. All right, next up we have One with the Machine. Sorry, Josh, this is a good one.
Yeah, 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the highest mana value among artifacts you control.
Yeah, so 4 mana, maybe draw 6. There's a lot of different ways to draw in the deck, and I added some more in. So I think this is just a little...
I don't want my card draw to be contingent upon like my board state.
Yeah. And it's like if you had a way to cheat out your Triplicate Titan in this deck, there's not. You just have to pay the mana for it. You're not going to get to that point where it feels so sweet that you like cheat and you Goblin Weldered out something, and then you were able to make it huge.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Architect of the Untamed. 2 and a green, it has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you get an energy, and then you can pay 8 energy to make a 6/6 colorless beast artifact creature token. So I do like the ability to pay 8 energy to make a beast. However, we have the Nissa and the Royal Cartographer, which are giving us landfall. And this deck only has, I think, Explosive Vegetation and maybe an Evolving Wilds to get extra landfall.
You'd have to switch out the mana base for a lot of fetch lands to make this. And plus, you put in the
Royal Cartographer.
Royal Cartographer just is like a 2-drop that does the first part of this ability. So
Yeah.
And then the last card you have to cut is Disallow, which is the counter spell. It counters an activated ability, trigger ability, or a spell for 1 blue.
Yeah, so I just replaced it with Electro Siphon, which is just another counterspell. If you want to keep more counterspells in this deck, you could probably find another card to cut. But for me, I like doing 1-for-1 trade-offs. If it already has a counter in there, I'm not trying to add more counters to a Precon. That makes sense.
All right, so those are the 10 cards to take out. Can I throw in an honorable mention for an ad that I thought of during this? Is Sundial of the Infinite, I think, is a pretty good one because you'd get to keep your tokens from Saheeli forever by ending the turn.
That's a good point.
So, but I bet Sundial, and we're not going to look it up right now, but my guess is that all alone, it's higher than your entire budget that you spent. So
you could even make 2 Sundials.
That's true. You make us. I don't know what the second Sundial does, but okay. And the turn. I'll end it first.
I'll end it again.
Your own bar. Your 2 Sundials are fighting with each other.
Another card I really wanted to add was like a what's the one in the red goblin sack?
Welder?
No.
Engineer.
You sack a creature to deal 1 damage.
Oh,
because we have Reckless Fireweaver in the deck.
Oh, Bombardment.
Bombardment, yeah. Because
then you can sack the tokens you make.
Other tokens, yeah, and then you're making a bunch of 1/1s. It just gives you a little more flexibility to kill people. So yeah, Sundial and that. Also, if you're going to follow this guide, you might want to swap out an island or a forest for a mountain because a lot of the cards that I added have more red pips in them. And we took out like the Aethertide
Big surprise.
Whale. Big surprise.
Took out some blue and put in some red.
Who would have thought?
Sounds like Jimmy Wong.
Yeah, so this deck is 100% like, hey everyone, watch me do my thing. Please don't kill me, because you're broadcasting it right to the public. You play Saheeli, you pay 3 energy, you make a huge copy of something, and everyone goes, that's scary. We should not let that happen again. Well, let's kill Saheeli, let's get rid of your engine, and whatever it is. So I think what you really want to do is just build up a really good energy engine and only play Saheeli when you can have one of those like really big, powerful turns. Because I think if you play Saheeli to middling effect and you pass the turn, you're kind of letting everyone look at you and go, how bad is this and how soon do we have to deal with it? Whereas if you're just making a ton of energy and then all of a sudden you drop one of those things that lets you, pay a ton of energy to do something, you drop Saheeli, you play a bunch of stuff, make a bunch of mana. I think that's how you really get out ahead, is like waiting for that late game burst to just go boom so far ahead of everyone else they can't catch up.
All right. Thanks for doing the upgrade, Jimmy.
Party
It looks
time.
like a fun deck.
Yeah, it's a fun deck. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. If you want to build Pia, it can be really fun as well. There's also probably like an extra combat turn version of this deck because you get to do Saheeli's ability at the beginning of combat on your turn. There is Lightning Runner in there, which gives you another combat, but there's definitely some ways to make this deck that I think that just like has one of those turns that no one can catch up from.
Yeah, that's just really explosive.
But as far as precons go, this is like slightly higher than I think.
Would you say it produces a burst of energy?
A big burst of energy. It absolutely does.
All right. To the listeners, what do you think about this Living Energy deck? Are you excited about it? What are the new cards that we revealed today that you're thinking about slotting into your existing decks? Let us know. Yeah, definitely.
Comment below. And of course, if you want to pick up this deck or all of the precons from this environment, one of the more fun things to do anytime a new set comes out is to play all the precons against each other. You can go to cardkingdom.com/command. That is our affiliate link for Card Kingdom and all of the Magic products single sealed that you need delivered to your doorstep in one convenient package. And of course, if you want to just build a deck, put all the cards into the shopping cart, find the quality that you want, find the set you want it from, find the version that you want, add it all easily and quickly, send it all to your house. It arrives in one convenient package. So you can just sleeve that up and get ready to play immediately. So you could also, a lot of people like to do this, like to buy the precon and then buy the 10 cards in or add in their own spice to it. Get the deck, immediately upgrade it, and then play those in the environment as well. So there's so much flexibility. CardKingdom.com/command offers all of it to you, and you're supporting the show while you do so.
Yeah, and of course, once you get this deck, you want it to be protected the way we choose to protect all of our cards here. Jimmy and my own collections, we trust Ultra Pro. If you go to ultrapro.com/command, you can find all kinds of deck boxes, sleeves, playmats, dice, binders, organizer trays. They have what you're looking for to deal with your cards, whether you're organizing them, keeping them safe, displaying them. They have all kinds of cool products. They also have the licensing agreement with Wizards, so they have the artwork from Aetherdrift on the playmats and the sleeves of the deck boxes. They also have apparel now, so they have cool shirts and other things. So anything you're looking to do around Magic that isn't the actual Magic cards, Ultra Pro has it. They have super high quality stuff, and we know cards are valuable, so you want to keep them protected. They also are the best in the biz at that. So again, ultrapro.com/command.
And new Apex sleeves with each set as well.
Oh man, the Apex sleeves. If you haven't felt that shuffle feel, you need to try it out. They're really good.
Great. Yeah. And finally, Game Nights Live is coming up the weekend of February 21st through the 23rd in Chicago. If you're going to go to that convention, we suggest you look at getting tickets or passes immediately, as this is, last year it sold out, I'm pretty sure. It was one of the biggest ones last year, and it was a blast. We loved being in Chicago. And this time around, we're doing Game Nights Live outside of the main convention venue on Friday at 6 p.m. All the details about where that is will be posted to our profile.
It is very close. You walk outside the hall and it's
right there.
It's within this. Like, you don't have to go outside or anything.
Great.
But yeah, it's not in where the rest of the convention is, but it's easy to get to. But you do need a badge that lets you into the event on Friday.
Or the weekend badge.
So either a full weekend badge or a Friday badge.
Yeah, if you have a Saturday badge only, you won't be able to get into the show. So make sure you have the Friday badge or the full weekend badge.
But there is no additional ticket necessary. If you can get into the MagicCon on Friday, then you can get into the Game Nights Live show. Yeah,
absolutely.
And we hope to see you there. We'll also be there all weekend doing meet and greets, looking for games and stuff like that. So even if you can't make Game Nights Live on Friday, hopefully we'll see you there Saturday or Sunday.
Get over there. It's going to be a fun one.
All right, now it's time for the end step, where we talk about something cool outside the world of Magic.
Do I have anything cool outside the world of Magic?
I think I got one.
Yeah, please do.
So I was talking to my brother last night, and he watches a lot of TV, and I was really surprised that he hasn't watched this show yet. And so maybe there's some people out there that haven't watched it. It's coming back for a second season. In fact, it's this Friday for us, but it'll be the previous Friday for everybody in audience land.
Yeah,
it's Severance.
Oh my goodness! It's
Apple
coming this
TV.
Friday.
Yeah.
I might need to rewatch the first season.
It's definitely one of my favorite shows from the last few years.
Yeah.
Very, very good. It's a smart sci-fi show. The premise is they've found a way to make it so that your memory doesn't sort of cross the door of your work. So when you enter the door to go to work, and then when you leave, you don't remember having been there during the day. And this is for the purposes of you don't actually think you've been working. So because to you, it's like going to sleep and waking up and you're like, oh, I worked in between then and there, but I don't remember it. So
no stress of the work is carrying home with you. You don't have to add all that. Yeah. So
that's how they sell it, is it's like work-life balance thing and everything else. But of course it gets weirder than that. And the premise doesn't really, once you start to think about how that would actually work, there's all kinds of like interesting little intricacies about it. Anyway, it's a very smart show.
Adam Scott's the main character.
Adam Scott's the main character. I think Ben Stiller is like one of the showrunners or creators or directors or something like that. And one of the things I like about it, it's asks a lot of questions. There's a mystery aspect to it, and they've already come out and said that like they know the answers. They know where they're going.
Thank goodness. Yeah. There's no black smoke machine.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be a lost situation. Yeah. So anyway, if you haven't watched Severance, I would highly recommend it. And we obviously haven't watched season 2 yet, but season 1 was really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. It has this thing where it ratchets up in intensity, and the mystery gets a little deeper. The ethics of what's happening.
There's all kinds of weird characters. It's like
Christopher Walken is in there.
Christopher Walken's great. John Turturro is great.
John Turturro, one of my favorite.
The cast is insane, and it is very well done. So
it's on Apple TV, right?
Apple TV.
Yeah, Apple TV just does this where they just release endless bangers.
Apple TV, it may be the best. I mean, even above HBO, maybe has the best shows. I mean, when you look at Ted Lasso, Severance. I watched Dark Matter recently. It was really good. Silo's really good.
Yeah, with Rebecca
Even
Ferguson.
For All Mankind. There's a whole bunch. Like the list goes on. I think
Foundation
Apple TV
is pretty good too. Yeah.
We're not sponsored by Apple TV. We just like it.
We could be though. Apple TV listener that plays Magic. Give us a call.
Give us a call, Apple.
Let's visit the set of Severance, and so we can remember it. Don't do that thing. Yeah, check out Severance, everyone. It's a really good show.
All right, and before we go, big thanks to our amazing team here at the Command Zone: Rachel Kendra, Karina Cruz, Sebastian Salazar, Grav Galati, Jamie Block, Jordan Pridgeon, Jake Boss, Eric Lem, Josh Murphy, Manson Lung, Christopher Matista, Evan Limburger, Sam Waldo, and of course, Rachel Weeks.
Wow, your brother hasn't seen Severance?
I know, I was like, because he's texting me constantly being like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And he has, I'm always like, no, but I watch the shows because he has good taste.
Yeah.
And I was like, you've probably seen it, but I'm really excited about Severance this weekend. He's like, I haven't got around to watching that yet. And I'm like, wait, stop everything else you're doing.
Everything, yeah.
That's better than all the shows you've recommended to me.
10 episodes in the first season, so it's really easy to get through, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening. See you next time.
Peace.